This is the Padua Podcast Network.
The chops are very real. I've had matches where a 240-pound guy just slaps my chest and I have their handprint on my chest for a week. So my mom's not very happy about it.
Running a Fever episode 216, an interview with professional wrestler David Hernandez. In episode 215, you met David Hernandez, who is a former coworker of mine who I met while we were both coordinating the Biggest Loser contest that we had at work. In that episode, we focused on his bodybuilding, but David is also a professional wrestler. So in this episode, we're going to find out more about what it's like to be a professional wrestler, what he had to do, and why he did it. Tempus fugit, so let's get to it. So, bodybuilding is a little bit different than pro wrestling.
Yes.
And I'm sure you're going to say it's a lot different. Why on earth would you want to go into wrestling?
Man, I watched it growing up, and I think it wasn't until I actually saw it live. They did a show here in Springdale.
Who is your favorite pro wrestler?
Man, there's so many, but I think everyone would know Shawn Michaels. The Heartbreak Kid. His charisma and being a ladies' man and all his movesets. He's probably my favorite. Jeff Hardy too. He's all extreme. He jumps off anything. So you're from a different era. I remember I used to watch Memphis wrestling, and there's Jerry Lawler and guys like that. And but great. So you had some sort of influences that made you want to be like them. Mm-hmm. Yep. So then I saw one live, and I'm like, man, these guys are huge. And that leads into the bodybuilding thing. Actually, you find a lot of bodybuilders that are also wrestlers. So it wasn't until I lost the weight and I got more in shape. I was like, man, I can maybe do this. So I looked up wrestling schools nearby. The nearest one was in Harrison, which was a 2-hour drive, and they started practice at 6, and I get off work at 5. So I'm like, man, I was always an hour late. I did that for a month.
Harrison's like 2 hours away, though, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But they only had practice once a week, so it wasn't too bad. But I was driving there. I did it for a month, and I just finally oh man, this is a lot of driving.
Mm-hmm. And they're not paying you or anything.
No, in fact,
right?
You were paying them. It was $25 a practice, so it was adding up. So I'm like, man, I don't think I'm gonna go anymore. But I still had that itch. And then I was just scrolling through Instagram, and on one of my recommended was this video of some guy doing a flip. And I was like, okay, who's this? And I click on his profile, and it said Fayetteville, Arkansas. And so I keep scrolling through his page, and I see he's a professional wrestler. I'm like, man. I send him a message. I'm like, hey, can you teach me how to wrestle? And he's like, we're opening a school in January. You should sign up.
Great timing.
Things just clicked together, and I was the first one to sign up. One of the first. There was 2 of us that signed up right away. And we've just been going since January. So, but as a bodybuilder, I mean, you do your workouts, and I personally enjoy the workouts. I mean, they're you're working hard, but it it feels good, and then you go to the shows and you're just posing and that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. Wrestling is a lot different. It's a lot harder on your body, isn't it? There's a lot more work involved. Yep. So, I mean, people can say it's the F word, which is fake, or it's a work or something, but, falling on your back is not natural. You just telling anyone, just drop on your back, it hurts. And it would always hurt no matter what, but your body gets accustomed to the pain, and you just kind of just get used to it. So, the chops are very real. I've had matches where a 240-pound guy just slaps my chest, and I have their handprint on my chest for a week. So my mom's not very happy about it. She actually has not gone to see me wrestle yet because she doesn't.
Did you ever play football or anything?
No, I did not. I'd sign.
Or any contact sport?
I mean, no, nope. I mean, other than soccer, and people would say that's not a contact sport, but when you're running, running as fast as you can, and someone tackles you and you fall, I mean, that doesn't feel good either. And I was actually a goalie, so actually that kind of helped into the wrestling thing. I was used to falling,
Right.
get a point, you jump high enough and hit it and you fall. So you kind of, that's probably got me ready for that. So
you start working at the school and learning the ropes and everything. And then what happens? How do you get into a competition that way? Because there's local wrestling, and I actually never knew there were local events, but I guess they're kind of like the minor leagues of wrestling. Can you tell me about that local aspect of the sport?
Yeah, so there's different territories, and each territory has their own different promotions. And
now, are these independent? Are they associated with WWE?
No, they're all independent. Anyone can, start one up. We just gotta build that reputation and make it legit. So,
so you get a bunch of wrestlers and you sell tickets, right?
Yep. So you kind of start hearing names, and everyone. I'm starting to figure this out that everyone knows everyone. So you hear like, oh, I went to Memphis. I actually did go to Memphis. So you're like, okay, well, I went to Memphis, and people are like, do you know this person? Do you know this person? Do you know this person? So it's all
a whole network.
Yeah, it is a whole network, and everyone.
So do some guys actually do this for a living and go around to all the local, just travel?
Yep, there's people that get, my trainer actually, he's going this weekend to Dallas, and he's got 3 shows, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. He's doing all of them, so.
Have you, I'm just going to go off on a little tangent here. I recently saw a documentary called The Sheik. Have you seen that?
I have not.
Okay, you need to see it. The Sheik was big back in Hulk Hogan's day, and actually he preceded Hulk Hogan as champion. And then, he was chosen, I guess, to beat the last guy who'd been there for a while. And then Hulk Hogan beat him and took over and started his whole big career, right? So the Sheik, toward the end of his career, even though he'd been in the big time, he was doing these local shows, doing the local circuit, the independent circuit. It looks pretty rough. It was kind of sad, but there's a he did finally redeem himself, but he had a hard life. So
yeah, it's definitely changed from back then. The atmosphere was probably a lot different back then, and to today. But yeah, you said people make it to the big time, and then they kind of just go back. A lot of people they like the thrill of chasing that big time dream. And once they make it, they're like, wow, I'm here, but I kind of miss having to go out and promote myself. People actually like it. It's part of the journey it's fun.
Yeah.
So,
I think it's true for a lot of things. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm finding that out now. I'm just enjoying the ride as it go. We'll see where this goes. Hopefully big times. So I'm choosing to relocate, so we'll see.
So you're looking to actually, go pro and quit your day job and everything, right?
Yep.
Where are you relocating to?
Right now I'm looking at a school in Austin, Texas. I think that'd be a good, it's in San Antonio, and it has 3 ex-WWE wrestlers as their coaches, and they got a really awesome setup, 2 rings, and they're putting on student shows that look pretty cool. So, and just that network, Texas scene is big. Texas is basically its own wrestling country there. Right. So I want to be a part of that, and then we'll see where it goes from there. That's going to be the first step.
Awesome. So what's your wrestling name? What's your persona like?
I'm El Perro, which means the dog. So I didn't even know I was going to wrestle my first match until a week or 2 before it happens. All right, you're going to come up with something, and I didn't have gear. I didn't have a name. I had no idea, I didn't think about that I was going to, debut that quickly. So I was on my way to the venue, which it was the Demolition Derby. So it was at the rodeo. And I was like, man, I don't know what I'll be. So I just told them, just put me as Ed Perro. And I just kind of stuck. So I just did that. So I stuck with that. Now I actually have 2 sets of gear, and I kind of come out with a dog mask type thing.
Okay.
It's black and red, so it's pretty cool. It actually debuted this past weekend, and people loved it. So that was my persona. I'm just Hispanic, and I don't know.
Do you like those Mexican? What are the Mexican wrestlers with the mask? They wear the mask.
Oh yeah, the luchadors.
Yeah, luchadors.
Yeah, so I actually got to meet a lucha legend last weekend. I got to hang out with him. So yeah, there's a lot of them. They all got their pretty custom masks. That'd be cool to have at some point. But I think you got to start off with that. No, it's kind of too late.
So there's, as I understand it, there's, in the documentary, it's the only thing I know, right? There's a baby face and then there's a heel. There's a good guy and a bad guy. Which are you?
Oh yeah, I'm a good guy for sure.
Oh yeah?
Yep. Yeah, I think I want to be a role model for kids. So we'll see. But you never know, I could turn into a bad guy real quick. So
sometimes it pays more to do that, right? Yeah. So, how physically demanding is wrestling? I mean, you're like practicing. It sounds like pretty often, several times a week, right?
Yeah. So we practice Monday through Thursday, and it's a 3-hour class. The first hour we do drills, which we've had a lot of people sign up, do the drills, and never come back again.
Wow.
So
are these like the sort of I don't know, quote unquote, real wrestling like they do in college and stuff like that?
I did a preseason of wrestling, but then I transferred schools. If I would have stuck with it, I think I would have been a good amateur wrestler, and I wish I would have. It would have paid off now, but yeah. So even we do a lot of the same drills, scooting side to side, Hindu squats, the running, and all that. So our warm-ups. In their warm-ups, we run the ropes, do a drop down, run the ropes again, drop down, run the ropes again, drop down.
Now, this is important because nobody wants to see a tired wrestler up there.
Yeah, but it's called blowing up, getting blown up. Yeah. And so we gotta condition ourselves to that. And so that's the first part of the drill. We jump over a jumping bag. So we do 2 drop downs and 1 running the ropes. So we do 5 of them, which I guess would be 10 drop downs. So by the time you do that first warm-up, you're already tired.
Right.
And after that, we pick up a beanbag. We run across the parking lot with the punching bag. And we do 125 sit-ups, 125 push-ups. We do tire flips. We do 125 Hindu squats, 125 jumping jacks. And then we deadlift we do 135, but we do it like 35 times.
Yeah. So, pro wrestling is entertainment, but it's pretty real for you guys that are doing it, right? In terms of being a sport and being, it's, you're really have to be in really good physical shape and you train hard.
Yeah. So we always try to outdo each other, who can finish it the fastest or stuff like that, or who can do the most deadlifts nonstop. So it is a competition amongst even the school. So yeah, that's our warm-up before we even get in the ring. So by the time we're in the ring, then we do ring drills, which they're just taking arm drags, practicing smoothing out our basic moves out. Rolls. If you don't do rolls for a while and you go back to it, you get dizzy.
Right.
It's oh man.
You got to be ready to do that in the ring.
So yeah, it's entertainment, but it is physical. So, but once again, that's what's going to separate you from the other local people, local wrestlers. Some people don't work
really
out.
Train, they just kind of show up.
Yeah, exactly. So if you have the body and you have a good mentality, then you'll make it. So
good deal. I'm going to throw out another movie. This is Mickey Rourke, the wrestler. Have you seen that one?
I have not. I need to watch all these movies.
Dude, what?
I know. I watch the wrestling shows, and then I've watched some documentaries, on some of my favorites. So
yeah. All right. Well, next time we get together, then we can maybe talk about some of these. But that movie put a really gritty face on it.
Oh yeah.
He was. It was really just showed the blood and gore of some of this stuff, and I don't know if it was real or not, but. That's kind of what I wanted to ask you, but all right. So, what's your next event? And it sounds like you want to go for the big time.
Yeah, the big time is the goal. Our next show is November 24th at the Fayetteville Town Center. I believe doors open at 6 p.m. and we haven't really announced anybody to show up yet, but we have a good locker room and. Man, I invite people to these shows and they don't expect much from it, but then they're like, "Oh my gosh, when is the next one?"
So do you know? Do you know that you're actually going to wrestle in this show?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty sure. Yeah. I think there's only been one show where I haven't performed, and that was at the Bikes Blues show. But that's because we had a pretty stacked lineup.
Right.
So I didn't mind.
A lot of people in town for that. Was it a big crowd there?
Yep. It was about the same size as we get, but it was just pretty cool being outside and having that outside venue again. So yeah, November 24th is our next show. I don't even know what the theme is for it. We just had Monsters and Men, and we had a TNA star or an Impact Wrestling star on it. So he's a big time name that we just brought in, and he put on a really good performance.
Yeah.
So
great. Well, I might see if I can come to one of these. It sounds really interesting. And maybe get some video of you, and hopefully you can give me some video as well. And,
yeah, I'll shoot you some pictures. So do you have like show notes that you put on? Yeah,
and then we have a picture for every episode, and I actually have a YouTube channel too. So any video that you have, I can throw up on there and get some exposure for that. Well, thanks a lot. This is the first time I've interviewed a professional wrestler. You're the only one I've ever known. So
oh wow, yeah.
So thanks a lot. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Michael.